just a ride. Whoa, oh, it's just a ride.
Welcome to the Just a Ride podcast number 4. I'm Zach Flanary.
I'm Shaiden Hutchman.
And I am Jeff.
Getchell.
None of us have really came up with cool nicknames yet.
We're not even doing nicknames anymore. Fuck
no,
nicknames.
Actually, one of our Discord chats, or some of our folks in Discord, they said that what they were trying to, they were petitioning for a nickname. I was the Frosty one.
Frosty?
The Frosty one. Because of a comment I made in the first episode.
Really
and it does actually. I was like, that actually kind of works.
as we do this podcast further, you will find he has a huge aversion to the heat.
Yep.
And he would prefer to be Frosty,
Yeah.
that's for damn sure.
And I'm also emotionally shut off, i.e. cold. So
And emotionally shut off emo. That doesn't make any sense.
weird, right? I know.
That's why that's why I liked it.
It's because I spent
like
too many. I blew all my emotions in the
emotional.
early years. There, I emoed them all out, and now there's none left.
Hell yes. Well, we have a bunch of stuff we want to talk about. We're going to talk about the Georgia Guidestones. We're going to talk about, finally, Shaiden's pee story, because that got skipped, didn't it? We also have an idea about, we're going to talk about where children get some ideas, one in particular, a melody that they all sing, and see if we can talk about that. We'll talk about human beings and the plus and negative of them, or if we are a net negative or positive. We'll talk about the social credit score, which you just heard about, which so we can kind of like talk about the broad scale of it, but it's kind of a weird video game life terrible thing that government has. It's a weird thing if you don't like government. That's probably the worst part of government if you don't like government.
I mean, I agree. Well,
We'll get to it. We'll get into it.
Don't you start.
I won't start yet.
Then we have a few things that we'll end with, things that we learned, fuck this thing, and advice I give myself. But let's start it off with the Georgia Guidestones.
Yeah.
Because I am a little bit involved in that, not government, not I wasn't there.
Did you do it? Was it you?
It was us, yeah. It was Angus. Angus fought the scum, and but no, it's an interesting story for those of you guys that don't know what the Georgia Guidestones are.
That would.
That's Jeff.
That would have been me.
You're not hip with the Illuminati fucking New World Order globalist movement, bro.
But now I want to go there because it's an outside place. So
Well, now it's all. I think they tore it all down, and you'll have to give me the details. I really didn't dig into it. I just kind of was like, oh fuck, we were just there, and hopefully nobody.
I mean, I didn't deep dive, but I know I'm up on it.
Well, we wanted to run with it a little bit, but then it's like, fuck, I don't want to deal with the FBI or something. To be like, I was in Spokane the whole time. Yeah,
I think the FBI deserve to be part of your podcast.
And they'll be like, we wasted so much taxpayer money just wasting all the time. I guess that would be fun.
It would be kind of like the FBI paying you in a roundabout way, because they're gaining you
they'd
more.
have to be Patreon.
Yeah. If I just get one extra Patreon, it's like, thank you, federal government. Best
listen,
thing
gentlemen,
ever
you can't come in here unless you have either a warrant or a high-level Patreon subscription.
Unless you're an inside scooper, I can't allow you in.
And I'm just saying, one of those things you can get faster than another.
Hey, it's best to use your fucking. You could use your credit card, but I prefer PayPal. But so the Georgia Guidestones, for those of you who don't know, picture Stonehenge in England, and basically it's a rich guy's version from the 80s of that. But it has 12 versions in different languages of these rules to live by in case the apocalypse happens. And 2 of the rules are very Illuminati.
10,
Is it 10?
I was wrong.
There's 10 commandments.
I just
Jesus.
looked it up. Sorry.
Of course, the cokeheads.
Of course,
in
it
the
has to be
80s
10. Yeah.
Did that, yeah. But anyway, it's been, for conspiracy theorists, it has been a slap in the face. It's a globalist agenda, New World Order kind of thing, because it literally one of the
some of the stuff on there is pretty like
exactly
no.
super cringy. Like
Yeah.
in the 80s, if you're thinking about eugenics, you're not popular at parties. I mean, but these guys were like, and that's why they used a pseudonym. There's like RC Christian or some shit was the name on it. But
so let's go. Should we read what it says?
Please.
Yeah. So these messages are on there, in 8 different languages.
8. Okay.
Yeah. And the languages, in case you're wondering, are English, Spanish, Swahili, Hindi, Hebrew, Arabic, traditional Chinese, and Russian.
So one of those hopefully
Weird
will
picks,
survive.
right? Like, what about all the other languages? Like,
I think they just went for the big ones. They're like, 1 billion people speak this.
I guess so.
Half
yeah.
a billion speak this.
That's true. Those are all pretty large.
Yeah,
speaking.
Hindi by itself.
So,
Hopefully, if India goes into the ocean, hopefully 4 or 5 of them live and procreate, and then they'll be able to find the Georgia Guidestones in Georgia. Yeah, they'll swim across the Indian and Atlantic Ocean, and they'll just figure it out.
Yeah, good placement, product placement. So here's what the 10 commandments on the Georgia Guidestones say. 1 is maintain humanity under 500 million people in perpetual balance with nature.
That's the one where it's like, well, now we have to trim the population by the majority of it.
Off to a bad start.
Yes,
and that's a weird one too. Like, we could tackle that on its own sometime, and it would be a whole segment, because I feel that if we're being honest with ourselves, everybody would kind of agree in principle that having less of us on the planet would probably be good in a lot of ways. But nobody wants to be the one, myself included, to pull that trigger at this point, because
it's easy to say that, like, those guys, if they would like to sacrifice for my well-being, I'm for sure for that.
Isn't that the world? I have a problem. Yes. How are you going to fix it?
Yeah, they call it, I don't remember his first name, but it's Malthusian thought, where for a long time they said the Earth is running out of everything because there's just too many of us. And what we've over time, they've been saying that for decades, and it's totally we keep finding new things, and technology's made it so we can feed 8, 10. We could probably feed maybe 15 billion, maybe, if we. Who knows? That's what the arguments are. Malthusian, if you want to look into that shit.
Yeah, well, you're wrong, and so is that guy, because humanity needs to be under 500 million people in perpetual balance with nature. So saith the Georgia Guidestones.
Right, that's the Georgia Guidestones.
Okay, number 2 is guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity.
I don't like the word
the eugenics
guide.
one. Yeah, that's a bad one.
So that's the 2 that people don't like. The other ones, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the 3rd one either. Unite humanity with a living new language.
No.
Yeah, I'm not into that.
I just don't want to learn anything new.
Well,
it'll end up being like short language. It'll be new.
With that attitude, you're not going to be one of the 500 million people.
They actually are already coming up with it, and it's kind of going backwards. It's just going to be emojis.
Yeah, text messages and emojis. LMFAO, smiley face.
Yeah,
it's like
it's hieroglyphics, dude.
The presidential speeches in the future.
Mm-hmm.
The presidential speeches, they're just texting little emojis to and everybody's emojiing back, and it's just silent.
Have you ever actually played that game and tried to have a conversation
in all emojis?
You can do it.
I bet.
It's kind of like reading the beer cap bottles, or beer bottle caps.
Okay.
Where they had the little puzzles and you had to.
Yeah.
I mean, you drank generic beer at some point in your life.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah. I remember seeing somebody describe a movie with all emojis. It was like Star Wars or something.
I'm pretty sure you could even sext with emojis at some point.
Fair enough.
You could.
Now I want to try it.
Lots of eggplants and splashy tear emojis.
Exactly. That's basically, and a bunch of pears. Lots of pears.
The one with the guy who's holding both hands up in the air, like, I don't know.
Exactly.
Followed by a little fetal position.
Yeah.
and tears.
Don't read into that as it pertains to us.
Of course not.
Okay, so living new language. Not a big fan of that one. Okay, even if it's emojis. Sorry.
Yeah. It'll happen naturally. It doesn't need to be forced.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, everything's just kind of melting into one slowly. So.
Yeah.
Number 4, rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. I kind of like that one.
I do too, but I don't like the idea of who decides what tempered reason is.
Right, exactly. So. Like that should just be like general, like that should be widely accepted common wisdom. You know, it shouldn't be a rule.
No,
they could just have said, just don't be an asshole.
They don't need to send dudes with guns to your house if you're not like doing that. If you're not following.
That's the thing about a lot of these is it's like. How
much reason did you use today?
As a principle, it's like, yeah, sure. But when you make it a rule, it's like, okay, what happens when you don't? Like, what if you fuck up?
Right.
Who's enforcing this shit?
Right.
They start chopping off hands.
Jeff's that's gonna be his ticket to being in the 500 million. He's like, I have experience. I'll make sure people are speaking with one language and
directing their reproduction properly. Yikes. So that's 4.
All right. Number 5 is protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts.
That's easy to say.
It is.
That doesn't.
I feel like we've all kind of took a stab at that and not done the best job so far.
Given it a shot.
Yeah,
even I don't agree with how it went.
And I think most courts in the world, even if they're corrupt as fuck, they're like, we're pretty good. We're not as bad as the other guy. So
they're not going to hurt their own job security.
I mean, I guess you're okay.
Yeah.
Or we cut off your hands, but we didn't put you in jail forever.
Yeah.
All right.
It's like, whoa.
That heals.
You have 2 hands. Stop bitching.
It's not like we took your kidney.
That's a different culture. That's a different place in the world.
Hey, I would choose kidney over hand all day.
Yeah,
every day.
for sure. For sure.
So the
Great
next
scar to talk about. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's a good conversation starter.
What's that from?
They need to make an emoji for that one.
All their people just every once in a while they wake up in bathtubs like, fuck, I crossed the government again. I didn't use my reason. Now I got a big scar. Fuck, maybe I can go buy it on the black market, get it back.
I'd turn all my government scars into wicked tattoos.
For sure. I got
The head
governed
of
hard,
this dragon
daddy.
is from when I stole apples.
You have constellations.
Yeah.
This is where I got governed very hard. All right.
So right after the fair laws and just courts, number 6 is let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court.
Okay.
Not a good one.
That's basically how we have it now.
Kinda.
But without the world court overall.
Yeah, the world court is the part that I
That sounds
don't
terrible.
like, you know.
All
It's just
centralized
dude,
shit bad
who runs
to
the
me.
world court?
Yeah.
How do you
Well,
Cunts.
isn't
Cunts
that
do.
isn't that run by the mob? I mean,
Cunts.
Isn't that what they're talking about?
I guess. Or
What
they're
the mob-
talking
the
about
mob rules.
the only way that
running into
that
one now.
happens is the mob is the world court or the elite are the world court.
Yeah, who's going to set up who's going to pay for all the buildings?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
I
the
mean,
elite will use it.
Apparently,
our
I'm
tax
Illuminati because aren't we kind of dealing with that now?
Kinda, yeah. But like, what nation is the physical world court going to be housed in?
Brussels, Belgium, probably. I mean, they have. I think they already have some of that stuff with the European Union.
It's got to be some
crazy thing.
super neutral place where
Actually, it would have to
oddly
be, yeah.
all the crime happens.
Be like,
All the high profile crime.
Yes, the
We're just
irony.
neutral.
The irony is, very palpable.
Anyway, not pointing fingers or naming names. So number 7 is avoid petty laws and useless officials.
Fuck yeah. Well,
I mean, yes.
You could see them snorting a line of coke, being like, "Put that on there for sure, bro.
Yeah.
Put that on there." Fuck
we don't want
politicians,
anybody
fuck
harshing our buzz ever
Yeah,
again.
exactly. Politicians are obsolete, so that's on some level I agree, I guess.
Right.
But they're like, just
That's
be careful.
That's the thing with a lot of these. It's like there's some grain of it, except for the eugenics one. Fuck all that. But
Right.
there's like some grain of a lot of these where it's just like, yeah, but
Right. But none of these are instructions. They're just like, just do your best. And they're like, how? They're like, fuck, we didn't spend $10 million to
basically
put this up to tell you how to
Do
do
what
shit.
you've been doing the last couple hundred years, and
Try and do it better. And also eugenics.
yeah. But you get a chance to kind of start over, and create whoever you want,
Right. Fuck.
and maybe then you'll have a shot to make this work.
These are all great things to live by. All right.
number 8 is balance personal rights with social duties.
Okay. That's the greater good thing.
Yeah.
All right.
Mhm. Right.
So
Don't have
you,
much to
so
say
you
about
can
that
tell the mentality and the philosophical ideals behind
one.
that.
I feel like I
Okay.
can picture the people that came up with this.
Yeah,
I don't
absolutely.
believe it's one person. I just like, this is like, I'm pretty sure I've smoked weed with these people once before.
Right.
Number 9 is prize, truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite. Again,
Okay.
I think I've smoked weed with these guys.
Yeah, exactly. For sure.
Right?
It's like, good God.
It's like, man, any credibility you had up until number 9 went out the window. At
Exactly.
Number 9. Like, ooh.
That's some leftover. They were tripping on LSD a couple weeks
You
before.
went truth, beauty, love, man,
big
harmony.
time. A couple weeks before. They were on it then.
And the last one, this is probably my favorite one. It's the one I hate the least. The last one, number 10, is be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. They put it on there twice. In case you didn't get it the first time.
I see. They're very poetic.
Yeah.
Well, fuck. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, who hates nature? Who's like, let's fucking get all the trees the fuck out of here?
Well, your body in particular hates nature.
Well, that's true.
But your mind
Yeah.
doesn't, and that's what's
My mind loves nature, but yeah, it itches hardcore. So yeah, I am anti-tree. Fuck the trees and the squirrels and all the things that live.
Fuck the trees. Put that on a shirt.
All right, so that's the George
Fuck the trees.
Guidestones.
Zach Flanary.
One of the things that they said, this was a satire site, but there's supposedly a time capsule underneath this thing, and it blew up. People were saying that it was hit by lightning, but it sounds like
No, it was hit with an IED.
yeah, exactly. but then it was demolished completely, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Okay.
because they deemed
Became
it
dangerous,
unsafe,
yeah.
And these things were vandalized often, like a lot, you know,
Right.
as you might assume, like people.
Fractal scum.
But this is the weird thing about it, like As far as I know, as of today, no like arrests or anything have been made, or no charges have been filed for like vandalism. I don't know what it would be, like destruction of private property.
I guess. Yeah, I think
like,
so. Actually.
It's not like a government building or anything. You know,
it's not on public land. It was on private land,
and it didn't hurt anybody. It went off in the middle of the night, from what I could tell. But there's cameras on this place because of how much it gets vandalized. There's cameras running on it all the time. I've looked at footage of it blowing up.
But there's no.
But there's been no footage released of like, okay, so you guys saw who did it though, right? Like, or were they wearing robes or something?
Right.
Like, I want to know.
Illuminati confirmed
what the perpetrators looked like, and I want to know what's in the fucking time capsule.
Yeah,
or if there is no time capsule.
The speculation was, and this is a satire site, but it was funny. It was Saturday Night Fever soundtrack. It was a Playboy signed by Burt Reynolds, with Burt Reynolds on the cover, and it was a shit ton of Quaaludes. And that was the satire side. So I don't know.
So they believe that the builder of this is a boomer.
A what?
A boomer.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hope that's actually something like that is what's in it.
I do too.
Because that would be like the biggest troll.
Yeah.
My God.
Good job.
Yeah. Kudos to whoever did that. Like,
Exactly.
Well done. Like that was playing a long game.
Just a picture of it.
Imagine that.
There'd be a Polaroid of him flipping everybody off.
Exactly. But imagine in the future when the world does go to shit, and they're like, I've heard of these Guidestones that don't exist anymore, and they take a boat ride across the ocean to find the Guidestones, and they're like, be nice to each other, bro. And it's like, what the fuck, bro?
Yeah, I thought you were going to leave like instructions for building farming implements.
Exactly. Like, how does electricity work? You'll want that in the future.
Well, they should have done things like make sure your friends are slower than you in case of attack. You know?
Just some practical shit.
Yeah,
Casually untie their boots once
have
in a while.
Have a fat friend in case you need to eat them, you know.
Or like Dan used to have a joke, pack around a ketchup bottle or a A1 sauce when you're on the airplane because he saw the movie Alive. It's like, I just put a little A1 sauce in my suitcase just in case. I don't know. All right, that's Georgia Guidestones. You shouldn't blow up fucking things that art things. I don't think people should do that necessarily that much.
Well, if it's not yours, don't fuck with it.
Yeah, I don't think, even if it's just terrible and stuff.
Even if you hate it.
I get it in the public sphere. If you want it fucking taken down, absolutely go for it. But probably not blow it up. Probably not destroy it on your own accord.
Yeah, like I'm not sad that it was destroyed, except for like it's actually I'm kind of glad not necessarily because it was destroyed, but because it's like a new interesting chapter in this weird book of the Georgia Guidestones like story. I'm just like, cool. Now what?
I know, right? Where will this go on the internet? Fucking deep dive of the.
How long is it gonna be before some other rich person goes and fucking rebuilds it in the middle of the night
and adds different fucking principles to it, and we're all like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Well, the weird thing is it's kind of like a lot of other things, and I'm not comparing these things, but if the government wanted to get rid of conspiracy theorists on a couple things real quick, they could show the footage from, say, the Pentagon during 9/11. They could just show footage that shows the airplane, because all we've seen is a little flash, and everybody's like, show us the thing. There's thousands of cameras, and they're like, we can't. And the Oklahoma City bombing's like that too, because I don't know if you know much about it.
Well,
but
the
there
FBI
was
loses footage.
Oh, so you're expecting the government to be transparent? I mean, they tell you that they're transparent.
I'm saying that I don't ever believe they ever will ever, but I am saying that if they wanted a conspiracy theorist to stop, they could be like, well, here's the images that you want. Here's the airplane that hit the building, and there you go. Now what? And they'd be like, okay. Or with Oklahoma City,
conspiracy theorists are right.
Right.
They can't let them know that they're right.
Think how much that fuels that, though. That fuels that so hardcore. I remember when I did a conspiracy show about 9/11. It's like, it is very hard to buy into the Pentagon having the same kind of fucking camera abilities as like my mom's pet store in 1982. You know, like there should be cameras around the gas stations across the street that could give us better images of that. All around that area is cameras. So when I listen to conspiracy theorists saying, dude, it's a missile and that's why, and you can see it and that's all that there is and stuff, it's like, okay, fine. They could dispel this real quick by putting out a camera, but by putting out an image, and they don't. For whatever reason, they don't. And it's like, and like I was trying to say, Oklahoma City bombing, there's a conspiracy behind that. It's lesser known, but that it was a terrorist attack from other nationals, basically from Islamic terrorists. And it was pinned on Timothy McVeigh. And there apparently is footage of that, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes to it where it's not just a flippant story. They were looking for these people. There's all sorts of stuff. But if they want people to shut up about it, the Murrah building that was blown up had tons of cameras pointed, like literally we saw the Ryder truck and we saw all that stuff. They have the footage of if he had anybody with him at all. And they could just put that out and be like, there, shut up, leave us alone.
How does nobody else do that? Like, what about the people that had the footage?
They got it all confiscated, perhaps?
I guess.
Which must have been weird.
Like,
and
right away.
And that's a weird flag where you're like, why the fuck are we that dumb?
Because you can't
we just can't
you
know.
Can't convince me you could keep people... Like, that's my problem with people that are like, oh, the lunar landing was staged, like it was a fake like production thing, and it's just like, okay, not that I wouldn't believe that the government would be capable of something like that.
It was
but
Dick Cheney and Donald Rumsfeld and shit.
Exactly.
It's like, well, probably
they were like, hey, look at that, But the problem with that is, I will not buy that you could keep all the people involved with that quiet for a long period of time. Somebody would blow the whistle on it.
Well, and
that's why those fall apart to me too. Is 9/11? It's like it would take an infrastructure of 20,000 people or something to be quiet about all of the little intricacies.
Yeah. Unless they all have bombs implanted in their heads.
There are always exceptions.
A couple things on that. I mean, I was in law enforcement at the time of 9/11, and the only information that we did get back through some classes and stuff that I went to and upcoming training after that, that changed.
Our dumb legal system made it so we couldn't see those videos.
The federal government had warnings of the attack and did nothing about it.
Right.
Basically laughed it off, and it occurred. But
it's because they get warnings about things all the time, and they're like, okay, what?
Yeah, which one do we have to? I mean, I'm not faulting them. I'm just saying that actually was confirmed that did happen.
Yep.
I mean, from what I know,
they were doing war games. That was actually part of the scenario. From what I understand, I haven't verified this as well as I should have, but from what I understand from all the conspiracy theorists that I read, fact check this. But it sounded like on 9/11 they were doing war games with a similar kind of scenario, and that also made it so that the response time for some of these things, like I think the Pennsylvania flight, part of that had to do with the fact that they were like, well, is this part of the war game or is this, so
real thing, yeah.
And again, conspiracy theorists, if they smell that kind of shit, they're like, they fucking knew for sure. What are the odds they were doing a war game about 9/11 on 9/11? And so.
But as far as like the cameras and stuff go, I mean, I would assume from my history and profession that they're going to take all those and they're being held as evidence. They're not going to show that to the public from any point of view because it could destroy any case that they have.
Right.
And then there's rules and regulations and laws and keeping that stuff into evidence and not releasing it. That's it. Even with now, I'm shocked sometimes at how fast a department is to release like camera footage, but it's constantly trying to save face.
That's crazy, yeah.
But it's like, this is, well, first off,
speaks to what I was saying.
First off, I can't think of a time ever where an officer's body camera was ever used against the suspect. They're only used in trials against the officer.
Oh, yeah.
It's a babysitter, and that's really what it's for, is not to catch you doing something right, it's to catch you doing something wrong.
Sure.
Never once did my camera get pulled because somebody complimented me. It got pulled because somebody complained.
Yeah.
So I was always having to cover myself. But now they're releasing this information that really you would think would be used as really solid evidence within the case, right or wrong. But the public has this idea that they must know. They have this right to know, and they have this right to know right now. Well, still, they only get minimal information. Then everything explodes into conspiracy theories, and that's where your mob rules mentality gets. I mean, people are making decisions on very little information.
Yeah, very much so.
Even the news that speculate when the news shows up on a scene and they don't know what's going on, to kill time and get on the air, they just start speculating what's going on, and that becomes the true story.
Yeah.
So do you think it's better?
I guess I'm getting into a whole other thing.
Do you think it's better or worse for people to have more information? Like general.
I think it's better for people to have the right information. And if that takes a little time, well, sorry. We got a big scene going on. We got a lot of shit we got to sift through. And when we know, we will let you know the things that we can let you know.
Well, how about this?
As long as it doesn't damage we will let you know everything we can tell you as long as it doesn't damage the investigation.
Okay, but not Oklahoma City bombing, we've executed the guy that is responsible for it. Done. Over. So there's nothing. What's left of the case? And if we're getting body cam footage,
now you just have to wait
3 weeks after the thing. It's been
And I'm guessing
how many decades?
My guess to that would be that there's probably some federal law to not release that And that is strictly a guess. I'm not saying I have knowledge of that.
Which
that
seems ridiculous to a public where there's millions of people that are very curious and very skeptical.
It must be that way because otherwise we would have no need for the shit like the Freedom of Information Act, where it's like,
we don't learn shit.
You have to declassify it, and they're like, okay.
I'm not saying that the government
70 years. Yes,
I'm not saying that the government is above hiding shit. That's not what I'm saying at all.
I think that's part of the structure of it.
A lot of these things.
That's on
there's a
page
lot
one
of
of
things that
Government
could be
Handbook.
explained. I'm not saying it is an explanation for sure.
I don't
know. It could be this. I don't just automatically jump to they're doing something corrupt. Although a lot of times that is the case.
The foundation of government is corrupt, so it makes me think.
To.
Well, there's a lot of corrupt people that are attracted to this. I look at history. I mean, I'm a huge fan of studying history. I've tried to study as much as I can. My brain can only understand what it can understand. But there's conspiratorial history, which is real. People within governments using government to do things to their people. That's like the history of mankind. And then there's accidental history, which is what we're supposed to believe with most things. Like it just happened. It's just, millions and millions of people or billions of people and transactions. It just accidentally happened. With government, it's hard to believe that because government, some of the foundational things that they have is secrecy. That's what part of government is. Like they can't be wrong. Like if you're in charge of people and you admit that you're wrong, you lose face to all the people. And so government by its very nature has to be a shitlord to us so that it's like, you can still trust us. I know we bumbled this last thing and the thing before that and all the other things, but you can trust us still.
We won't do it again.
Yeah.
No, I mean, and I understand that. I just think that as a citizen, I think it's smart to go through all the logical explanations of what could have happened or couldn't have happened. And then if you can't answer it or you can emphatically say, no, all these things didn't happen, then you can start going into more of the conspiratorial theories. Yeah. And that may take a day to happen. It may take a year to happen in your mind. But at least if you really care, go down all your avenues, look at everything else first, and then get there. But that's all I think is reasonable.
The first thing that you really have to do is be like, can this be explained by human stupidity and human nature? And it's like, yes. Because most of the time...
Almost every time.
Every single time. Because all the conspiracies are really sexy and interesting and something that the other people don't know and all that shit. But at the end of the day, it's like, just like you said, somebody on their deathbed's going to be like, no, we fucking did that thing. It's fucked. Or there's aliens everywhere. People just can't help themselves. Right. They're telling their favorite grandkid, and their favorite grandkid's not scrupulous. He's like, fuck yeah, I'm making money from the book deal, bitches. And that's it. And so, I don't know. Conspiracy theories are valuable to entertain, and they are a big part of human history and stuff, but they fall apart so easily because most people want to... If you want to conspire to like control something, you're a cunt, and so you're dealing with other cunts, and you're going to cunt each other out. You're gonna make it so somebody screws somebody over, and it just won't. People are too dumb to plan out these amazing things and have this 4D chess going.
It's easier to believe that more bad things happen out of stupidity than intelligence.
It is that. I mean, humans were not that smart. We don't even come with the right questions and answers, kind of thing. Or we don't have the right questions a lot of times, like I do. But it just as a noticing the world,
you do have
like,
all the right answers.
No, I have zero. But I think we've talked about Georgia Guidestones and the Illuminati.
He doesn't have any right answers.
I've
never heard one.
That's
right
the first
answer
time you've been right. Actually,
finally, it's the first time for everything. But now I'm excited for this story because we're going to switch it up completely to Shaiden's potty story.
Oh yeah,
that we skipped.
I couldn't escape. I tried.
We got a lot of letters that were they're like, you don't get to just get off the hook. But
I got tracked down in person.
That's right.
I was playing a gig and I got.
We need to hear the P story.
Bro comes in, you know who you are. He comes in and I'm like setting up and he's like, I'm gonna be bugging you later for that P story, and I'm like, you who what?
Well done.
Is this somebody we all know or?
I know him.
I met him once before this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it was kind of a serendipitous thing, actually. I met him at that same place I was playing. Him and his wife. I think they just got married recently.
Ooh, maybe. Congratulations.
I don't know.
If that is the case. If
I
not,
don't know. I see. You have to forgive me. I don't spend any time on Facebook at all anymore. So I don't know what's happening in people's lives.
The way I look at it, all of the early SkatCast people are like all now part of my family or something. It's like I'm trying to memorize all your names and all that stuff. Send you Christmas cards and shit. And he's one. So He's been there from the very beginning.
Yeah.
So I consider him like,
Love
basically a friend.
Love
forever. Yeah. But let's hear the story.
Okay. So my pee the bed story is actually a shit the bed story.
A one-upper.
Yes.
Outstanding.
Yes.
Or is that an upper decker?
In true. It was. All right, we'll just get right into it. So to understand why I was in this situation, a little bit of context. I was living in hotels in my own city for a period of like a month and a half, almost 2 months.
No heroin involved, though, right?
No, it wasn't a drug thing. It was, I got kicked out of the place I was living, and a friend of mine who turned out to not really be my friend, but was like offered to pay my bills and get it figured out, and we would rent a house together, right? So we're staying in hotels while we're looking for a place, and I'm in this shitty hotel. It was a bad situation. My grandmother had just died, so I was like super duper stressed out, and we got a cheap hotel room, so one bed, and I'm laying next to her, and in my dream I'm like,
it's a cartoon kid.
I really gotta take a shit, so I'm just gonna go find a place. Like I was like hunting for a place to take a dump, and then I finally I was like prairie dogging it in the dream,
right?
And I found a toilet, and I was like, okay, yes, let her rip, and then I started, and I was just like, I woke up like mid log.
Oh fuck. Oh god. Oh, that's such a
and I'm like, no, I had like a moment of like, I must still be dreaming, right? Like this is second dream level. Like I can't really be shitting myself right now. And then about that time the smell hit me, so I was like, okay, this is really happening. And so I kind of like stealthily look over at her and like to confirm she's asleep and not looking at me, because I'm laying on my stomach, right? So this thing's coming out like a fucking flagpole in my boxers.
And instead she's facing you, and she takes her forefinger and hits you on the nose.
Don't
And she goes boop.
Okay, so so I'm like, I'm too far, like I don't want to like pinch it off and have it like go further than where it's coming at. Anyway,
you're trying to suck it
explain
back
the
in.
logistics
You're like,
of how shit comes out of my asshole.
How does a prairie dog go back in there?
I'm like, okay, so I'm just like, I sort of like scooted my way to the edge of the bed and like carefully got out of bed, and I'm like bent over at the waist, like and with my legs kind of apart, like carefully hobbling with this half-formed turd hanging out of my ass in my boxers. And I like went to the bathroom.
And this girl pretending to be asleep because she just does not want to confront you about this.
I hope so. This might be the only good thing she ever did for me. So I go in the bathroom, and I
after you showed her that kind of gratitude, I can understand why you had a problem.
At the time I didn't believe she deserved it, but years later I feel no remorse. But
so what did she find out?
No. I mean,
nicely done.
Tell today.
All right, hold on. Yeah. We got to give him a little golf clap.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you.
That's done.
Yeah, I played it off.
I peed on my wife. There was no passing that off. So
I played it off. It was kind of weird, I guess. Like, I'm sure she thought I was up to something, but I just never specified what, because
it's drugs. Don't worry about it. It's just bath salts.
So I finished my shit, where it belongs, but I've still got my shitty boxers, on the floor of this hotel bathroom, and I'm like, what am I gonna fucking do about this? I will not explain this. I'll literally jump out the window and run away and never come back before I explain what I just did.
I feel that.
So I turned on the shower, and I took a shower, and I just sort of like washed my boxers in the shower away from me as best I could, and then like hung them up in there.
Okay.
And I was like, if she asks, I just couldn't sleep and wanted to take a shower, and I will not answer any more questions.
This interview is over.
This interview is done.
And that's awake. She believes you got up and rubbed one out in the shower,
and that's
in the
fine.
middle of the night, and you're good with that.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
I would be better with that than shit in my shorts.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
100%.
Yeah, I'd probably be better with like, were you in there doing hard drugs? Yeah.
Yes.
I was shooting shit in my eye, bro.
I did like 8 balls.
I did 8 of the drugs.
How does heroin come? A lot of heroin.
I did all the drugs.
Yeah, 8 quantities of heroin is what I did. So that is Shaiden's long-awaited poop story.
Yeesh.
Although we threw him the curveball because it was supposed to be pee.
Yeah,
but that was better. You did double upper deck us, I guess.
Yeah, sorry.
It's good stuff. All right, moving on. Let's talk about the Nana Billy Goat. This is a theory Jeff has that intrigued us both, or the three of us.
I don't know if it's a theory, but
hypothesis.
Yes,
it's a question. What the fuck's going on?
Why does this happen?
It's a query.
So, throughout the history of time, at least in my life, and pretty much anybody that I've been around, when kids are mocking each other or making fun of something, or they have something someone else doesn't have, they're always in that na 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 tone, and it is universal.
Yeah.
They talk shit in that tone to each other, and it's every time.
Where did that melody come from?
Where did that start? Is that just something that's part of our culture? Is that in other country cultures? How do we subconsciously teach that? When did that begin? I just don't understand. Why is it that cadence? And everything they say in that cadence is absolutely talking shit to each other.
I'm curious if it is like worldwide. If we have any international listeners that want to throw down and let us know, or if you've been somewhere where they're like, yeah, they totally nanny Billy Goat in China or wherever, that would be fucking crazy. That'd be super interesting. But it'd be kind of like laughter then. So we have a similar laughter around the world. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is my uneducated theory.
I want to hear it because I don't have a theory. It's just I just have the question for you guys to try and battle it out. And let's see if we can solve this problem.
I wonder if it comes from the entertainment that's designed for kids.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like back in the day, it could have been like, sit your kid in front of the dude in the market who's got puppets, and like the one puppet was making fun of the other puppet, and he was like,
Yeah. Well,
and
what about when they played with rocks and sticks?
Yeah, did they do it then?
I mean, I think does this go back to caveman? I didn't mean to cut you off. Yeah,
I know. Feel free to poke holes in my theory I just made up in the last couple of minutes.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but go ahead. Sorry, continue.
Well, no, I'm just wondering because like I see that kind of shit in children's shows. Like when I've been at someone's house and they have a young kid who's sitting in front of kids TV shows.
Sure.
There's stuff in there because I'm trying to figure out where is it coming from? Like
it's music.
Is it hard coded into our DNA or?
I wonder. It's got to be a melody, and it's got like when I looked into nursery rhymes and that kind of shit, they all are kind of to a certain. Most of them are written to a certain cadence or melody. So I wonder if it's the melody of. It's not Mary Had a Little Lamb, but something along those lines where it's
almost close to Ring Around the Rosy.
Yeah, and around the road. It is, exactly, yeah. So I wonder, it must be cultural, but it would be amazing if it wasn't. That would be something super interesting where we mock each other naturally with the same fucking melody. That'd be rad.
That'd be super cool.
So let's get on that, researchers.
There was a child. I was a child once. There was a kid show. Did you guys ever, were you ever exposed to the kid show Arthur?
Yeah,
Arthur. It was books too. Arthur the Aardvark. Right? Yeah. So Arthur was I'm
a Curious George generation.
I was too. Books though, not the show. Right. But yeah, but Arthur was my shit when I was a kid, and there was an episode about libraries and library cards. Yes, and I will never forget because it's built into me now. This for whatever reason, this episode lingers with me to this day. But it was
about the Dewey Decimal System.
It was like no, but that did expose me to that for the first time. That show did.
Nice.
No, because his kid's sister's name is DW, and like for the whole show, you didn't know what DW stood for until this episode, and he was like Dora Winifred, and she was like having nightmares about it, like don't tell people my name because she hated it, and so it was like him saying over and over Dora Winifred, like plaguing her with it, and it is that same melody. That's what made me think maybe it's like the entertainment that's designed for kids, but why?
What if it is just it's just hack artists? It's artists that are like, fucking just steal that melody. I can't come up with a new one.
What if somebody owns that melody?
No shit. It's
or
probably
somebody's
Gene
family,
Simmons.
Somebody's estate owns that melody.
It's Gene Simmons. He owns Orange Juice.
But or I wonder if it's something that's just biological for some reason.
That'd be cool. That's
a way to that your body naturally develops vocal cords or something.
Yeah, just like our laughter. Just like how laughter is pretty much universal. Every human laughs. I think when we get kicked in the balls, we all go, ugh! So it's
that's lack of oxygen. That's not fair.
Well, you're right. It's not apples to apples, but
that's the sound of your soul leaving your body.
We're trailblazers here. We're trying to figure this out. I'm throwing out ideas. Some of them are bad. These
are the heavy issues everyone wants solved, people.
That's right. Also, I've had a long week. Okay, my brain might not be firing properly, so I don't know.
Well, there are certain sets of.
I don't think there's. It's not solving it, but I'd sure like it if somebody did. And I don't know how to Google.
If any of you guys want to research research that and find out, or if you know anybody or can find out. I don't recommend just going up to people from other countries and asking them, "Excuse me, could you mock me? What tone do you like to mock?"
Could you have
you
your
mock
child
me.
make fun of me?
Tear me down for the next minute, would you please?
have your child tear me down,
I'll
please.
pay you $20. Oh wait, that's
Something
get
else.
that on spray.
You can kick me in the balls too. I won't
Nobody
mind.
likes a stranger initiating a conversation by going, "How old is your child?"
Oh God.
Don't recommend that.
No.
What I wanted to know for a case study I'm doing on kids making fun of. You're already been shot by that point.
That's how you learn how hard people punch by region. Okay, so now we've touched on a few things that are a little bit light. Let's talk about some philosophical things. This is one that's pretty interesting. Are human beings a plus or negative in
the
general
grand scheme of things?
Yeah, and this is, why don't you lead this one? You brought this to the table.
I don't know.
What are you
dare
thinking?
lead this one, but I think about this shit
Wrong.
a lot. I think about this shit a lot because, I mean, as a member of the human race, I'm kind of by default pro our existence, although there are a lot of members that aren't.
Right.
You know, but I'm like, in my own
Back to
self-interest.
Malthusians
In
again.
my own self-interest, I'm like, well,
Malthus.
I mean, there must be some value to us being here, right? Like, we have to have some validity, don't we? But there's a lot of evidence that seems to be to the contrary. You know, like there's a lot of we're pretty much not. We kind of destroy everything we interact with sooner or later, like over a long enough time span.
That's why everything costs money. You can't even go to a goddamn national park because we're fucking pigs, and collectively, we will take advantage and destroy anything. We're like locusts.
But like,
We do leave a lot of debris behind.
But like living things just kind of do that.
Yeah,
too,
exactly.
You know what I mean? Like
Exactly.
you can't create anything without destroying something.
Mhm.
It's impossible to create without destruction. In
As
the
an
process.
example, if you live in a place with deer, they're going to destroy your garden unless you put up a 7-foot fence.
Mhm.
Is that kind of what you're saying? I mean, there's
that would be an
destruction
example.
from-
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, other living beings kill
Mhm.
each other, kill other species and stuff for their own benefit, or just because they were angry about something. You know, like
Our best thing for survival is our ability to manipulate nature. Like that is we are nature that manipulate everything. Manipulates nature. All nature manipulates nature. But that's
nature
our
manipulates
superpower.
us too.
Yes, it does, absolutely. But we're not like bears. Bears have their weapons designed again, fucking design. But anyway, they evolved
made
to
the
have
bears.
claws.
The bears were my project. I designed them.
Claws and teeth are their weapons. They wear their superpowers on their sleeves and in their faces and stuff.
Literally.
Our superpower as nature is to take nature and do things to it. Yeah, it's the thumbs. Although raccoons have thumbs, and they don't fucking.
They're just not big enough.
They like shiny shit, though.
They do like shiny shit, and they like chickens, and we don't like raccoons anymore. I think they're cute and nice, but fucking leave my chickens
When you have
alone.
a problem, I can come help you with
Yeah,
it.
okay, I know. Okay, he will be the guy I call.
Yeah.
But human beings, that's what we do, is we manipulate nature. And like when people go camping and shit, like we go out there and we don't go in nature, we move nature around to suit us no matter what, because we'll die if we don't. So it's really our nature to be this way.
That's because we got
exposure is literally a
sissified
thing you
through
can die from.
evolution and, well, not really through technology. We've become very sissified.
No, fair enough.
And we can't survive like we used to be able to.
Right.
Yeah, but even then, like survival still means like exactly what you're saying. Like you take nature and you bend it to your wills for,
No, I
for
agree.
the sake
No,
of your own survival.
that makes
Yeah,
sense.
even the most weird, going out in the woods, both of you guys going out in the woods, like I'm going to take only a backpack filled with things like that will make me dehydrated and make things harder. a 50-pound weight
What do you
on
think
my
we
back.
just hang out with 50 pounds of booze?
yeah, exactly.
Because we do.
But while you're out
He's
there,
onto us.
you're taking nature and you're burning it. You're clearing out some nature. You're probably trying to keep some of
You're
the
using
nature
it
from
to
trying
survive,
to eat you.
absolutely. No, I agree with
exactly.
that.
Mhm.
So I mean, that's our. It's weird to demonize human beings for what we do because we don't demonize any other thing. I get it, where there's a bunch of us and we just dig big holes. Whenever you see a city, that means somewhere around that city is a giant hole where all those things came from, all the materials that built those skyscrapers and shit.
And it's now filled
like-
with garbage.
Yeah, it's like, this is San Francisco's hole. Yeah, and that would be the thing to do with it. And we dumped all your shit in there from the things from the nice city into the hole that was, I don't know, dumb.
Well,
But-
which would create fossil fuels ultimately. So
Yeah, exactly.
It's not bad. We're
Yeah.
giving back to some degree.
Yeah. And fossil fuels are actually quite renewable. That's the planet.
that's
the
the
whole
whole
point of the planet is,
Yeah.
So very strange that we look at it differently than
Yeah.
that. But
So let's look at it this way. What are
I think the answer
What's-
is yes, by the way, for both of them. But go ahead.
we're good and bad, huh?
what's So I guess what I'm really trying to determine is like everything that lives has some sort of negative impact. I think
probably. Fuck sharks.
You leave your print on the earth, right? I mean, you do. That you really do.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
So, but what I try to determine in this little thought exercise is, does the good of our existence outweigh the bad, or are we just sort of like fucking shit up more than we're making shit better?
It's like, well, compared to what kind of thing? Like the planet. There's a George Carlin bit where he's like, well, what if the planet wants styrofoam? What if he put human beings on Earth because he was like, I just want some styrofoam. I just want some plastic. Because the thing that people often think about with humans is like, well, we do all these unnatural things. We got these chemicals and this fucking bullshit. And it's like, that's still nature.
Yeah.
There's nothing on this Earth that we can do that isn't natural. All of the systems, all of the the physics or the chemistry that leads to nuclear bombs is nature.
It's literally
and we're nature doing it.
Earth.
We're the nature doing it. Like if a little
compounded.
group of ants did that and they built like electricity things, we'd be like, fucking cool. But we wouldn't be like, that's fucking not natural. We'd be like, well, I guess those animals do that naturally. That's pretty neat. And so to me, it's like, I'm not mad at human beings for doing what we can to make our lives better. I am mad at the irresponsibility of some of the things and some of the incentivizing of things that are, immoral, I guess, on some objective level for people. I like capitalism because it's the thing where normal people can trade with each other without the government in their face, and they can maybe make a living. But it also comes with a lot of things that people that are already using government to manipulate and already maybe have a bunch of resources that they've hoarded or whatever.
People are always the problem.
It is. Yeah, I agree.
The answer is yes.
Yeah.
But I think that if you were to take a chart or and just draw a straight line, I think that the idea is to stay as close to that medium ground, and sometimes we're up and sometimes we're down. But I would imagine that over time, actually, we become more of a detriment. Even though though technology is good, technology also does take away from.
Yes, but check it out. The technology that we're driving for, like say, look at the 80s. If you're talking about this stuff now in the 80s and you're looking at Los Angeles and you're like, we can't even see the big skyscrapers from the hole that we dug. We can't even see them because of the smog. Technology, not really government regulations. It was technology, people pushing technology to be cleaner and shit. Like we are nowadays, our water is cleaner than it was when we came here. You know what I mean?
Like the hole in the ozone layer that everybody used to talk about. We're putting holes in the ozone layer. Yeah, we fixed it.
It's fixed.
That's why you don't hear about it anymore, because we fixed it.
Exactly. These things that people are doing. Yeah, we're kind of fucking shit up because it's a kind of a trial and error really is what human life is. It's like, does this work? Oh, fuck, we blew up the fucking stratosphere, the nuclear test and shit.
Sooner or later, we'll fuck something up bad enough that it kills all of us,
right.
Probably.
Right. But look at it like this. Like, the countries in the West are the most clean that they've been in the history of... We just have the richest countries have the ability to recycle, to do these things. And... we've actually probably made it more harmonious with nature. And that's not to say that we're not just pulling shit out of the earth constantly to make plastic and to fuel our world and to feed our machines and all that stuff. But at the same time, even those things are being watched more. Like fracking, for instance. A lot of people don't know that there's the fracking underground people don't like, but there's shale oil on top of things. Yeah. And I'm not sure if that's called fracking. I don't think that's part of fracking. But it's basically they suck the oil off the top of the land. It's on the top, just covered in ooze everywhere.
And
they
the land
pull
gets
it
better.
And yes, then fucking deer come out and nature's like, this is sweet new nature stuff for us. And so there's all these weird concepts that we don't understand.
It's like logging. I go hunting, and every year I go to the area, a general area, and more stuff's logged off. Does it piss me off that it changes my style of hunting?
Yeah,
I'm more of a rattler guy, and now I have to clear cut hunt. It's longer shots and boring, so I have to change what I'm doing for that. But I'm not anti-logging. Right. By any means. I understand that it's a replenishable resource.
And the logging companies of today have listened over the last several decades, and they're like, oh, they will put us out of business if they think we're cunts. So let's be the best at planting trees. And so most of these guys are the reason why we have more trees now than we've ever, what I mean?
But that's where I'm saying that's where we do have a lot of balance, is doing things like that. When you get into like things that we're creating in technology when it comes to computers and shit like that, I think just the social aspect in that is going to destroy us. We're going to turn on each other and kill
That's
each other.
a weird one too, because we're using rare earth materials for that one. That is one where it's like, we don't know if we have any more coltan on the planet. Probably, but we don't know where it is, and so we only have a couple places to find it. And in that case, then we're robbing future generations of something. What if coltan is the thing that makes it so humans can live forever, and there's like 5 little bits of it because we used it for PlayStations and cell phones?
How many animals and ecosystems have become, they don't exist anymore because of shit that we've done?
A lot of them, yeah.
A lot.
Yeah,
like if you actually look at like the known extinctions list,
wouldn't it
Yeah.
make sense
It's
that
like-
ultimately every animal is going to have that turn, and at some point it will
That's
be
the thing.
our turn as
I want to
well?
know the data on that. It's like, well, 99.9% of all the things that have ever lived,
Jeff's like better them than us.
for sure. But how much did we affect that? It's all of these things we want to know that. Same with climate change. It's like,
Yeah.
I mean,
we know
didn't
it's
make the
happening. We want to
dinosaurs
know
extinct,
exactly.
right? I mean, they went extinct without humans being here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
But
most things are.
there's definitely certain types of like birds and fish that
Absolutely.
we valued them for some reason at some period in history, and we're like, kill them,
Yes.
get them all, and
Right.
then we really did get them all, and they're gone forever.
Well, the thing is, like, if
Yeah.
you want to keep an animal, like, say you care about tigers a lot, we need to start eating tigers, because that's how animals survive in the future, is if we eat them. Do you think
No,
we'll ever
he's-
run out of chickens? No. Do you
No,
think
I
that
know
the
exactly
cows
what
will
you're
ever go
getting at.
extinct? So if you like the dodo bird, start putting that shit on the menu. If you don't want to see, the
I wonder
wallaby,
what tiger tastes like.
Meaning
tiger-
people will start to farm them.
they
Is
will
that what
farm
you're
them. Exactly. That's how.
saying? I thought you were going by as you deplete their numbers, they will like mate more or something.
No. Literally, we as humans, it's like, oh, these chickens are badass. Let's eat them. And it's like, well, we can make money if we get a lot of chickens. So if we did that with tigers, it might be a little more dangerous to have a tiger farm than a chicken farm. But if you want to save the tigers, you need to start eating fucking tigers. Just saying. That's just Uncle Zach. So
Well, I think we could do, on that note, because that is a possible solution, but also we could
Don't eat
just,
tigers,
we
I
could
don't.
just not fucking kill all of them too. Like we could exercise
I'm
restraint.
trying to tell you that the way to get through human nature is to eat them, because we will protect the cow.
I mean,
the cow will live forever because we
I'm gonna
want to eat
forever
them.
wonder, because of this conversation, what tiger tastes like. I'm thinking about it.
I would
chicken.
imagine like mountain lion.
I've never had that either.
Oh.
Oh, it's really good.
Is it?
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. It tastes like kitty. I feel like there's a vagina joke in there somewhere.
No.
Good job. Well done,
Somebody's
gentlemen.
making it. Someone's making it.
Believe
right
it or
now.
not, I did not pull one out.
If you have an excellent vagina joke that you just thought of, you can send
Maybe
me.
Fill it
the
in
only
here.
pussy that you ever eat, however.
It tastes like kitty. So what do we think overall? I
So
think
there's
human
things-
beings.
There's things that
I
wouldn't
don't know if I
exist
could answer
without
that
humans
question.
too. You know what I mean? That I think
Styrofoam.
that I think the world would be poorer. I mean, not just even technology, but what about art?
Hubble telescope. Yeah.
We make art.
True.
How many creatures make art? Like, especially on the level that humans do.
None, I don't think.
You know.
An elephant can paint, though. I saw an elephant paint one time. He painted himself too, or some shit. It was like,
I think
damn,
I saw
bro.
that. Yeah, I was
It might be
actually-
somebody trolling me. I'm sure.
pretty stoked
everything
about
on
it.
the internet is suspect at this point. But yeah, it's like, well, fucking A. But I don't think any other creature does
I
art
saw a squirrel water ski.
or literature.
I saw a picture of that.
I've seen that before too.
I thought
saw
it was
it on-
photoshopped.
Saw it on a movie.
I saw it on just a YouTube thing, I think, at one point, or it was like a news feature of a squirrel on fucking being pulled by a little toy
Using
boat.
all those resources.
So
It's a bad squirrel.
So let's just do a thumbs up, thumbs down. Are humans a net positive or negative for the Earth? I'm going to go yes. I think I like that humans exist and make art. I think your art.
The art
I'd go
comment
for
gotcha.
It did.
You little artist.
Art is worth having around.
I think my answer to that will probably change depending on when you ask me that question again
enough.
in the future. But I lean towards thumbs up. I prefer that humans exist versus not.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, my answer is yes to both. But
Yeah.
I mean, since I'm kind of pro-human,
Yeah.
I like being alive. But I think that we will eventually become extinct, like many other animals. But I think all animals ultimately will rotate through extinction.
So I think we could do a lot fucking better.
We
though,
could
as a group. You know.
Well,
what I
we've
mean?
only had
Like,
science for about 400 years, or
Yeah.
we've only known about that humans have been doing science continuously for 400 years. Who knows what the cavemen were doing? They were probably on. We'll find moon shit from the
It
cavemen.
took them a
or
long
something,
time to
but-
figure out the wheel. That's all I'm saying.
Well, just
did.
like kids, like you said, kids are scientists.
Yeah.
I'm sure that back in that time, they just died really young being scientists.
Oh yeah, they're like, does this mushroom do what that other mushroom does?
Yeah.
No, that kills you, Eb. Oh shit.
Here's a
Gronk
hot
is
take.
mad.
I think that the global population is going to decline in the future. I don't think it's going to just keep going up.
No, I think you're right. I think we actually have an issue with the population in a lot of countries.
We are.
Slipping,
statistically, we are.
The last time I looked at population growth and decline, the average was in the world is a person is born every 8 seconds and somebody dies every 12. I wonder if we'll see that change over
humanity's still going up. It's just certain countries are going down, and I don't know if that matters, because a lot of that matters to government stuff, where it's like, well, who's going to pay the pensions and who's going to do the pyramid scheme of fucking, whatever kind of social security this country did. We need more workers to pay these retirees. So that's really a lot of the time where they're like, oh, our damn, Japan has that problem. Where their birth rate is way below their death rate, and the population age is, I think, one of the highest in the world, if not the highest. And so they're not replacing their numbers.
South Korea.
So they just have these one child, two child policies of China, and that's not what Japan and Korea did. But they also have kind of it's a smaller.
I don't think China's doing that anymore.
No, they stopped doing that for sure. That
they're like
hard.
Fuck, we need people.
Yeah, it's interesting actually. I don't know if this is true, and I don't want to speculate on a country that I've never been to, but I have some friends from both of the countries, and it's a lot of it, the population shrinking has to do with video games and pornography, where they're like, I don't need a girlfriend, I don't need to be married, I'm entertained by I swear to God, this is probably like a Vice thing from like 10 years ago or something.
That smells funky to me.
It does, right? I know. But it's like, this in Japan, you can just go get panties from a vending machine, so it's a different kind of idea. They have a different.
Why do guys pursue girls ever then? Because porn exists. It's like in our society. Let's just take America. Porn is there. You can get it. No matter who you are, you can find a way to get some porn now.
Oh, right? Absolutely.
So if that was a viable substitute for actually having sex with a woman,
right,
then why are people still having sex?
Right,
or trying to, at least.
Maybe they're having less.
Yeah,
I mean,
maybe.
If you guys have any insight on the claim that I just made, again, I don't know. I didn't research it. Just basically, it's probably a Vice article or something from 10 years ago that I saw. But I've stuck with me where
crazy.
It's like,
I can only go anecdotally on this one, but porn made me want to go have real sex.
Right.
And video games made me want to try to do real things that were like video games.
Right. Okay. Well, that's you though. Perhaps.
It is me. That's what I mean.
The majority of people are not that way. I don't know. If somebody said, hey, you have to just delve into video games for the rest of your life, that's an option. It's like, I think a lot of people would say, all right, fuck it, yeah, give me a feeding tube and I'm just going to be in the games.
Isn't that metaverse? Isn't that what
if I was forced,
yeah.
if I was given no other option than to do that, I would accept my fate. I mean, I do like video games.
Sure. I do too. I wonder if that's the globalists, the New World Order. They're just like, get them into video games real hard and they'll never want to leave, just like in South Korea. I don't know. You guys tell me if that's a bunch of bullshit. I'm sure it is. It does sound stinky.
That's a top contender, though, for me, for possible ways of the world as we know it ending is virtual reality.
Yeah. Nobody doing the actual work.
Or like humanity ending, I should say, not the world necessarily.
Isn't there a child's cartoon about that, basically?
There's a lot of...
they float around in little flying saucers and they're just like blobs.
WALL-E.
Oh, yeah, WALL-E, absolutely. Yeah. WALL-E's a very cynical look at humanity. And who knows? We are dirty, and we make really bad decisions every once in a while that fuck us real hard. Just like there's a few human beings that we want to take credit for technology and shit. It's like, no, that was like 12 guys. Like 12 people have come up with electricity and engines and phones and computers. That's not humanity. That's like 12 smart
dudes. A couple really cool dudes.
Right. And
Dave down the street with the noisy Honda didn't contribute.
Exactly. Exactly. But I feel like we can probably go on this for a long time. I would say we all kind of have weighed in on this stuff, and I think we're glad
to keep
they're
going. Just do better.
Try and be more responsible. You got to be honest with each other.
Do a better job at humaning.
One last thing. If you ever want to realize how disgusting humans are, go to a goddamn festival.
Oh, yeah. Afterwards.
And camp.
In summer. In the middle of summer when it's really hot.
Oh, yeah,
Dave Matthews at the Gorge.
Oh, fuck.
Late August, early September.
Woodstock 99.
You're going to realize how disgusting people are, and that and you automatically think that you're not as disgusting as they are.
Well, we should do gross festival stories.
Oh, yeah.
We've all got some. On a future episode, we should do gross festival stories.
I've done cleanup for festivals, of my own festivals and other people's festivals, and you are right. People are rude. But, as a former smoker, smokers are really rude. Smokers are like, oh, my cigarette isn't actual trash. It might set the thing on fire, so my cigarette just goes on the ground. And that's how I was. I'm like, I don't want to set things on fire. I'll just bury it here in this grassy area.
That's true, man.
And then 5,000 people do that after an event, and you're like, wow, I could build a fucking I have enough tubes of cigarette shit or filters to fucking start a whole company of cigarettes.
I never really thought too much about that until I smoked and then stopped smoking. And then I looked at it objectively again. I was like, yeah, it does kind of make you a fucking asshole. Just
if you don't have an ashtray around, it's like, well, I'm an asshole again today.
Well,
just in this way alone, though. Like, so you're at a social event, like say it's like a family gathering, you know, like it's family, you're supposed to be there spending time with your family. If you were leaving the room as often as you do to go have a smoke for any other reason, people would be like, dude, what the fuck is going on with you? Like, you're like, oh, I'm just going outside to play games on my phone real quick for a few minutes, I'll be right back.
I need a break from you.
Yeah, it makes you an asshole. So how are you not an asshole by going out to smoke that many times?
Because you're an addict. It's the ultimate excuse to get out of any social event. I'm going to go stand out in the 3-degree weather and freeze my ass off because I'd rather do that than look at you right now.
Yeah, I always kind of liked being a smoker for that, where it's like, me and my smoker friend are going to go out and assess this party together because we're smokers. We have that bond. We're going to be like, how are you doing? It's like a little appeal to it. Yeah, it's so weird. I'll agree with you. And now that I don't smoke anymore, it's like, fuck. All I have is the yellow teeth to show me. I do. I go out with my toothpicks all the time. But all right. So the next thing that we want to talk about actually kind of goes with our humans of positive or negative, because this is one of those things. It's the social credit score. And I think it's meant to be something that's positive for human beings. I'm not sure you've heard about this yet, and anybody that hasn't heard about this, it's almost like a credit report, a credit rating that the government gives you for following the rules. And in China, I'm not sure I think they're doing it.
They are, yeah. They've been doing it for quite some time.
Right. But so you're not, and the way it works is if you're, say, let's just go on a scale of 10. I'm sure it's thousands or whatever. But if you're a 10 and you hang out with a 5, like that looks bad on you, and you drop from a 10 and you become a 9.
Don't we do this dating?
Probably. Oh, absolutely. We'd probably do that. So, but the social credit score is actually doled out by the fucking government, and
it's like points. It's like, okay, you're doing a good job. Like you get judged on things like, you know, how much are you contributing to society? How little do you piss people off and inconvenience other people? How good are you at paying your bills on time? How do you mow your lawn on a regular basis? Like and all those things will give you little points, and then depending on what tier you sit in and your points, you're some things are available to you, and some things aren't.
Society,
you know what I mean? Like, and to the point where it's like, oh, you want to get you want to be able to shop at this certain place, you can't. You're socially, you don't have enough points because we decided
even if you have the money,
you're a lower tier of human, so you're not allowed to shop here with the rest of the people that have.
We do that decentralized. This is centralized. This is the government.
Yeah, but we already do that.
With credit, yeah.
No, we do that with someone who's a convicted felon.
Sure.
You get popped doing something stupid at 18, let's say it was a malicious mischief where you did $2,000 damage, that's a felony.
Right.
Yeah, but that's not for everybody. That's
only for people that decide to go down a certain path.
But what I'm saying, you're telling me that you've never committed... dude, I'm a cop. You know how many felonies I've committed throughout my life as far as the
just
law
on
goes?
Accident.
Yeah, just just unintentionally,
not get caught.
Right. But if you get caught doing dumb shit, I mean, I don't think if you get your shit squared away, and I mean, you fucked up young, got your shit squared away, I don't think it's fair that you get this lifelong tag as a convicted felon, and there's certain privileges that you don't get, which can be anything from carrying firearms to so many jobs that are no longer available to you, or housing that's no longer available to you, and there's not a system that's not true. There is a system, but it's a very difficult system to work your way through to get that off your record so you can enjoy
be a normal
things of life and
with
be
your
a normal
normal
citizen.
rights. See, that sounds bad though. We don't want any.
You're supporting the anti, like being anti that.
I think it's fucking terrible to do that. I mean,
so that's an example of it in our society, and it's stupid.
I mean, even in my career, I mean, I wasn't supposed to associate or befriend anybody that was ever a convicted felon, because it could cause a problem for me if they were to do something stupid down the road. Well, I'm a pretty good judge of character most of the time, and the reality is,
you still hang out with us.
Yeah, the reality is, most of the people that I hung out with in my personal time, or that I am friends with, are people that are felons that learned from screwing up and became better people for it. But even I would be punished for hanging out for their mistakes that they did years ago. So yeah, I'm totally against that.
And we see that as injustice, I would say. It's like the worst possible thing for a police officer to do is to isolate themselves from the public and not be able to be friends with the people that they're protecting or serving, Well,
but that is being asked. You guys just outlined why the idea of having a social credit score across the board like that terrifies me personally.
It's ridiculous.
Because the little pockets of it that we already have don't fucking work right. They ruin a lot of lives, you know what I mean? So it seems like just in what you described, the good that it does here is far outweighed by the negative impact that it has on people that didn't deserve to have their entire life ruined over something like that. You know
I think you two, as far as friends of mine, are the only two that aren't convicted felons that I know that I'm friends with.
Never caught, baby.
That's right, same. Yeah. I could have been a few times. Well, I don't know. That's such a weird idea to have government do what. Like, let's flip it. Let's steelman it. Like, what's the benefit of a social credit score? I mean, what are they going for here?
Benefit for yourself. I mean, you can find self benefits, and if you follow the government rules, then you get incentives or rewards for it.
That's what it is, incentive.
But at what cost?
But it's the government deciding what those incentives, what incentives are good.
Yeah,
it's like you can have more peaches. And it's like
but then you don't have to think about it.
How many decisions has the government
made? It takes the pressure
off
of you. You know what I mean?
Probably a big
10
deal.
to 15 years that I fucking agree with. Like, very few.
Of what? I missed the.
I said, in the last 10 to 15 years, what's a decision that the government made and how I'm supposed to behave?
Oh, geez.
That I agree with. I mean, very little.
Yeah, same.
So it's not going to go good for me.
No. Well, it's a bad idea. Like, let's look at it again, the Steelman. So our credit score, I don't think that's a bad idea. I think credit is probably not the best idea, but it's really like, do you have a history of paying people that give you money as a loan? Are you responsible with money? Is basically
credit's good. I think it's just pushing credit onto people as like you have to have it.
Having the credit card and put everything on.
Yeah,
on
I think that's the bad part.
The game
I agree.
that's played is kind of crap, and if you do make a mistake, it's very, very hard to come back from that one mistake.
Right, I mean, but you have to be responsible for a while.
There should be a way to show us, like, I fucked this up, but I fixed it this quickly or in this amount of time, and I'm good to go again. I mean, that should account for something, and it doesn't. So there's definitely flaws within that system as well.
But the private industries, they solve this problem with credit scores, and there's no violence, there's no centralization, no coercion. It's like you choose to play.
The difference
this
is
game.
You enter into it willingly.
Exactly. That's why it's okay. But that's why
it's transactional in nature. You're like, I'm going to choose to subject myself to the terms of this deal, and then you take it on. If with social credit score, the idea of that is you're just opted in. It's like you get a social security number,
then you're just part of the system.
You didn't choose. You're just in. They're trying to make.
So does everybody have a Yelp and get
right?
By
basically,
yes.
You get tattled on. It is definitely about tattled on.
It's all tied to an app on your phone.
Again,
too.
mob rules. We have problems with mob rules.
Shit.
We have problems with mob rules right now.
Oh, I know.
Having access like that. I mean, all you got to do is piss one person off that's got a couple friends, and you know how that shit goes.
Absolutely.
And who's deciding what's good or bad too? Like what gains you points versus
that's the worst thing.
What takes points away?
Especially in China, because they have one party. There is not a debate over issues. There is a decree from the party. But let's try something else. A little thought experiment. So the government centralized, monopoly of force, putting out a credit score, not good. We've noticed that, so for money, the credit score seems to work, and it seems to be okay. It sucks if you get fucked or if you screw up and stuff because you got a long way to go. And I'm one of those people. I have a good credit score now, but it took me years to get there. But I learned a lot of important things going through that, so it's not a bad system. Now, I don't remember what I was doing. I think I was running my magazine. I thought of this idea early on where it's like, what if we did kind of this credit score thing voluntarily, where it's like, I'm not a cunt society, where it's like you don't have to worry about me, and I've been vetted by my society. They looked at me and they're like, I'm not a cunt. Exactly. But what do you think about that?
4 out of 5 stars.
I think
wouldn't change anything.
It might be exactly.
I think it's shit because you're either getting babysat by everybody waiting for you to fuck up so they can give you a bad mark, or you're the kind of person that is just ridiculously going out of your way expecting a cookie and a good mark for every good thing that you do, and life just doesn't work that way.
But that's Snapchat.
Isn't that
Snapchat?
It's no good because one of the people are the problem. Just like it's like you were saying, people love for you to get to to the top just so they can have the pleasure of tearing you down.
Oh yeah, man.
You know, so if you give people that kind of power over you just by watching you and being like, I don't like the way he walks out of his house and starts his noisy car, make up some shit, he's evil,
right,
and then you're like, what? I just lost 500 points. What the shit, Ron?
You're watching your back all the time. Fucking Ron better not be outside. So it sounds like a bad idea. It sounds like
it's a horrible idea.
It does. I think it only works in the financial markets, but we do it. Snapchat is that way.
Right.
Snapchat,
all social
you get a
media
snap.
is that
You
way.
get a snap. Exactly. I think so. So we are kind of doing a social credit score there. Because Snapchat, I mean, what's your snap score? It's not.
It's not good.
No.
The ramifications of it are bad. Like when you can make one misstep on social media and have literally the rest of your life ruined.
Yeah, fuck.
You know, that's not good. That is not a good thing.
We are not a very forgiving people
It
right
shouldn't
now.
have that kind of power, and none of us should ever be gleeful to do that to one of our peers.
This
either.
all started.
I am turned off so much by people that use the internet to fucking make them just go after people. Like, I'm in my house and I'm doing something.
I want to tear them down.
Yeah, I know. It's just like,
I want to let my lizard brain off the leash.
This all started with reality TV and people being able to go home to watch how shitty other people's lives are versus their own, and then have an opinion about it the next day at work.
Cops
and it's
did
just
this.
gone out from
that's always
in the
been,
real world.
That's always been part of society, man. Fucking slaves fighting in gladiators would be an even earlier example of,
fair enough.
of that shit.
Absolutely.
You know, it's like, yeah, good thing I didn't fall low enough in society to be a slave and have to fight 3 lions by myself in a diaper.
Jeff's over there like, I'd fight a lion in a diaper and I'd eat it so that we could keep them alive forever.
Jeff would win. I would watch you fight in a gladiator arena.
So
for sure.
what would a social credit score in the United States? Can you imagine Joe Biden or Donald Trump being like part of the social credit score for you?
Deciding,
yeah, or being just part of the apparatus.
Fuck out of here on both counts. Get the fuck out of here.
That's just so crazy. So yeah, it doesn't seem to work, but that's our little conversation on it. So now let's move on to our Fuck This Thing segment. This is our new thing that we're going to do.
Like all of our segments have turned into a Fuck This Thing segment.
Yeah, it's true. That is true. Fuck this thing.
We should rename the podcast to Fuck This.
Fuck this thing. This time, this is your thing, Jeff. You brought in, it's different from our last thing, but it's automated customer service.
Yeah, fuck
fuck
that.
this thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Tell us why fuck
that
this
thing.
Well, again, I'm old enough to remember when, if you needed assistance, whether it was to pay a bill over the phone, get some information, have some help with a product, you would call a number and a human being would answer.
Right.
And they'd be very polite, and you would tell them what the problem is, and they would either give you an answer or direct you to another area where
Another
you could
person.
get an answer,
Yeah.
and, which is another person.
Right.
Yeah. Not today.
No.
Yesterday, I'm trying to rehook up a GPS system for my phone because I'm headed out of town for a week. Out in the boonies, just in case I die and want to tell somebody, at least send them a little note, take care of my cat, something like that.
Right.
And I was having some technical difficulties, mostly because it's me, not that there was probably anything wrong. But so I try to call them. Then I'm on hold for 45 minutes, and then it just says, leave your name and phone number, we'll call you back. So then I'm like, well,
being a robot. Okay.
Yeah. Then let me try. Get back online, and then let's try the help service on the phone where you text it in. I pop in there, and it's already talking to me, and like I can't even type in the question that I have. I have a selection to choose from, none of which are right. So
here is the problem you were having.
I just want to talk to a human being that can solve my problem for me because I've tried everything and I can't. So pretty please, with sugar on top, fucking help me.
Always push 0. I think it just wait.
And ultimately, I accidentally
representative.
I accidentally
exactly. I do that the moment I get on into this.
But and I actually did get a call back
by Skynet.
No, it was actually by a human. It was like 3 hours
later.
later, but by then I didn't need it. But in general, I mean, even my dad with his own insurance company, every employee that he had, his rule was you will answer the phone by the fourth ring. You will answer the phone. Mm-hmm. And he did not have an automated system whatsoever.
Right.
And he had a fairly good-sized company. As soon as he sold the company, the guy puts in an automated system. I try and call. I still have the same insurance, but I try and call now. I can't talk to a person.
Right.
And then if I do, it's nowhere local.
And robots don't get your sense of humor, so it's just like, damn it,
they don't
that was a
think I'm
great
funny
joke,
at all.
and it didn't fucking even notice.
Yeah.
You can't be charming to a robot to get a discount on your monthly.
Right.
You know, or then, you know,
What can
even
you
just
do for
calling
me?
something on the phone, that you got to go through the phone tree and press 1 for this and listen to all this bullshit. It's like, it's 10 minutes of bullshit when you had a 30-second question, but it was an important enough question you had to call. You know, and then, you know, it's like, well, press 1 for English. You press 1 for English. And the person on the line, clearly English second language. Well, now you've got a really big communication breakdown. Excuse me. And we're already losing communication because we're not face to face. 85% of communication is through physical. Now you're having these breakdowns in communication because you can't understand each other. And either that person on the phone gets pissed at you or you get pissed at them, and then you hang up and you got nowhere.
Right.
So you're still in the same spot.
Yeah.
So I just want to go back to, I want to see some company actually answer the phone and answer the questions. And I understand the volumes of that might be difficult, but it's still doable. There was a time in this world where it was doable.
Yeah.
I don't understand why it's not now.
You know why? I can tell you why. I can tell you why those things exist. They exist because of stupid people.
Because of stupid
Hear
people?
me out. Hear me out. So
I'm already on board with
hear
this
me
theory.
out. So the reason that customer service tends to be outsourced or attempted to be handled by machines before you get to a real person is due to the sheer number, like the volume of people that are calling looking for help, right? And a huge number of those people that are calling looking for help are calling because they're fucking stupid.
Like me.
Yes, and I've been this person.
Perfect example.
I've been this person.
And I'm that dumb person. I get that.
But that's the reason, because they seriously, like, it's
That's so
like
much manpower. It's like, oh,
your
shit.
store that you bought this thing from literally cannot pay enough employees here where you live
But here's
to,
the thing.
to answer all your
I
stupid
could just talk
questions
to a
when all you
person-
had to do was turn it off and turn it on again.
If I could just talk to a person for 30 seconds, it would save
Yeah.
so much time, and I would actually learn what the hell I'm doing. It's just my style of learning.
Well, I wonder, a lot of these things come from a root that isn't necessarily intuitive. I wonder if all of these kind of weird things brings monetary policy to me. That's where my brain goes. Because
You always follow the money, man.
yeah, man. Well, we've inflated our currency so much, not just recently, but throughout time, that our dollar is kind of just way off of the value that it probably should be. I mean, money prices are like a signal. And they're not just like, oh, it's money. It's a signal of like what value this has and all this stuff. And I think that I don't know, there's a lot of different things. I don't want to get political or start throwing out a bunch of different concepts, but it seems to me that our money's kind of out of whack. So the things that we used to be able to afford to do that made sense, it's way better to go make it cheaper. So it doesn't have to be just automated. It could just ship it out to some place that doesn't have the same kind of monetary stuff.
That's exactly what I was driving at.
Yeah.
You can't afford to pay people the prevailing
Exactly.
wages in our
there's
country
not. I love
to
the
do
way
it.
you put it, though. There's not enough people here to deal with all the stupid people here.
Yeah.
Like, there's not enough local people that know what's going on to deal with the people that don't know what's going on.
I mean, there probably are, but we won't pay for all of that and
Right.
still run a business.
So,
I'll tell you this.
so this is
for the
bottom
most
line.
part,
Just
it
making
doesn't
money.
fucking help.
No.
Yeah.
Their customer service
I
doesn't
agree.
help me.
But here's
in
the thing,
general,
though.
because I'm too stupid.
But
That's my problem, I guess.
You keep using that word. I don't think that's it. But but the thing about AI and not even this isn't AI, but this is kind of what's feeding into it. The more we use this automated shit, the better it will be. It seems like
it
it's
does
kind
get
of
refined. Yeah.
It seems like it's been at a stalemate for a while. If you've ever called Comcast, but other places it seems to be getting better. And so then eventually you'll be talking to a machine that will be able to answer your questions and will be ready to be a little bit more nuanced and stuff. Hopefully, that's the goal. But then at that point, they'll be able to take away your rights, and they'll probably send robots to your house, and then you'll have a social credit score, and the robot will crush your skull. I don't know. So fuck this thing, automated customer service. I think so. Fuck yeah.
The language barrier thing too can be really frustrating, because it's like, it's not that I fault the person. Like, they know 2 languages. I only know 1.5,
Right.
1.3. But
well, the problem is search. Go ahead.
It just makes communication really hard. It was really ironic. I worked in a call center for a period of time, and I had that situation happen to me, but in reverse. I was the customer service English was my first language, and this gentleman that called me and he wanted help with like balance transfers for his credit card. Like, he's moving around large sums of his debt.
That's
right?
what I was going to say.
So like I can't screw it up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I'm trying so hard to patiently communicate with this guy. But it's very, very clear. I'll never forget his name ever, as long as I live, because of how it took us 20 minutes for me to figure out how to spell it over the phone. His name was Hariharan Swaminathan. If you ever listen to this, I doubt you will. You're a gem for putting up with me. I was trying really hard. But he goes. I said, can you please spell your name for me, sir? And he goes, yes, my name is H. And I went, okay, that's H. Got that one. And he goes, I. And I went, okay, I. He goes, no, I. I'm like, we're saying the same thing, sir. And I finally determined, after going back and forth and him getting mad at me, that he was saying A.
Oh.
Okay. And then he goes, R. I'm like, got that one. And then he goes, I say A. He goes, no.
Shit. No,
I'm like,
it's an I.
I'm sorry, I'm offending you, and I feel bad.
You have a really long, cool name that I don't know how to spell. I'm sorry.
I don't know. Yeah. The weird thing is when you have this situation when it's financial or when it's something like big deal,
when
where
it matters a lot.
Yeah, it's like, hey, my computer system's down. We have 35 employees that are waiting on this, and then it's like, oh shit, I can't understand what's going on here, and that's when you're already panicking. So that's I find that's the weird part, when it's like, when we just had Amara B, the bank account hacked and stuff, and going through, it's nice to hear somebody that's from your fucking bank, from your town,
that
like,
knows what's going on.
Exactly. Like, I'm in your file right now, and you know, blah blah. So it is weird. I don't know where I stand on that. I like the automated service because, just as the grocery store thing, fuck dealing with people. But when I want a question answered, I definitely want them to be able to do it quickly.
Right, yeah.
So a person at this point is better.
I'm with Jeff on this one. Fuck that thing.
Okay, fuck that thing. Until
and unless it's better, fuck that thing.
And I
okay,
really
but we
did
have
not
to
think
do
that
this
you would have
to
been
get
there,
it better.
Shaiden. I just figured that's just what you've probably dealt with your whole life, where I watched the change from really personal customer service to very impersonal.
He's an enigma wrapped in a mystery, this Shaiden over here, this guy.
Yeah, Canada's a little slower too.
Not untrue.
All right, well, we're winding it down. We've got two things left. We've got advice I give myself, and it's my turn this week to do that as we start this one. And then we're going to talk about things that Shaiden learned this week, and we'll do that. The advice I give myself, and the reason why I wanted to do this one first is it's just about the Just a Ride story, and it's real simple. It's really the Bill Hicks thing, so you can. I totally stole it from Bill Hicks. He has a stand-up beat that's basically beat. He has a beat. Oh, I'm fucking hip. It's a beat now.
Oh yeah.
It's not a bit. It's a beat.
Too right.
But the idea is very philosophical, and I think it's kind of Buddhist and kind of stoic. And it's basically, you know, you're on this ride, whether you like it or not. And the way I look at it is, when people ride the roller coaster, there's some people that have a great old time, and they let go. My mom was this person. She would just let go of the bar, and it would she had a great time. And there's other people that are on the ride, and they scream the whole time in fear, and they hold on really tight. And so what I try and tell myself is, like, when I feel my body clenched, like legit or mentally or whatever, I try and remember this is just a ride. I didn't choose to be on the ride, but I can choose to hold the bar tight or to let go and just be. And I try and let go and just be as much as possible. And that's what the song Just a Ride is about. I'm pretty sure that's what Bill Hicks was going for. It's like, well, you're not going to fix anything, and you're not going to, you know, this ride is voluntary. So, I mean, you can obviously end the ride, but if you're going to ride the ride, fucking try and ride it well.
So what you're saying is, it doesn't matter that I shit the bed.
No, it doesn't matter.
Yes.
It matters to you. It may matter to you in your psyche, but if you just let go of that, it won't matter that much.
Oh,
So.
I let go of it. I let go of it all.
You did. That was the fucking problem. Maybe not let go of everything if an O-ring is involved.
I mean, there's definitely a time to hold on tight, and there's definitely a time to just throw your arms up and enjoy it.
Right.
And, you know, that comes with...
well, if the seatbelts don't work, then you want to hold on tight.
It won't
maybe
save you.
Sometimes. You know, sometimes you just want to see what happens. You
Right.
know, I think it's that you've got to let go of that control, and that's something I struggle with.
Same.
Sometimes minute to minute.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of things going on in life that you want to be able to control, but you just can't, and it's so hard to have to sit back and wait and see what happens and not be able to manipulate anything.
Mm-hmm.
And that can really screw with a guy.
Yeah. I use the Just a Ride thing as a tool. Most of the things are little tricks from my mind, because I have monkey mind all the time, and it's like, okay, I got to get out of this chemical. How do I do that? One of the ways to do that for me is literally, I'm holding onto the bar not because it's serious, but because of my fear. And because of my reaction to it, it's not... Being serious about life is important. Holding on in the sense like, yeah, fucking do what you got to do and da-da-da, that's for sure not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is you're on the ride and it's going to do what it's going to do. The white knuckle thing, how does that help you? You know, is there a reason? When you white knuckle life, do you make rational decisions?
I don't even think it makes you feel more secure. I think it makes you feel less secure.
It's the place of fear that is like expressing itself in the highest amount there. So whenever I catch myself in that situation, it's like, let go of the bar and let's see where this shit goes. Mm-hmm. You know, you're going to handle it. A lot of the time in our life, most of the things that get in our way and make us and give us anxiety and whatever is shit that we're doing in our head about something that we haven't even fought the battle yet. We're fighting the battle before we get there. And to me, that's holding on to the bar.
And it's trying to anticipate so you know what next move to make. And I don't think that that's a bad thing in general, but it can really mess with your head if you really
plan
don't
for the future.
If it's not time to have control of that, it's very, very hard. It's good to think about, but it's hard to you can get stuck in that mode. And that's, something like, again, I think everybody deals with on a pretty regular basis.
I school myself on that kind of stuff all the time, especially the shit you were talking about, Jeff, about control. And I think that's kind of a side effect of spending a lot of time managing your own time and achieving a certain level of effectiveness at it. You get into this mode where you believe you can orchestrate everything that as it pertains to you, and it's hard to kind of remove your ego from that on a regular basis and realize that literally the only thing you're ever in control of is yourself.
Yeah, your reaction to things.
The way that you choose to react to things. Yeah,
and not all the time.
I think it's important to learn what you actually have control of. I mean, we simplify it as yourself, but that means a lot of different things. Anything, like we've already established, from diet and physical fitness and sleep to many other areas in your life. You can actually control, recognize what you control, but you need to recognize what you can't control, and then you have to somehow learn the ability to truly let that go.
Yeah,
and that's got to be where everybody struggles.
Absolutely, but that
again, realistically, you're going to let it go, and then you'll pick it back up again.
Yes,
and then you'll have to remember to let it go.
It's not something that you just.
It'll be harder the next time you try to let it go.
Sometimes I do that all day long. I mean, I can really get into my head, and I'll battle that all day long for no reason.
That's why I look at it as a tool. It's like, it's not something where I just, my mind flipped and now I'm just a rational, stoic, calm individual. It's like, no, this is the tool for when I'm monkey mind and the monkey is fucking angry or jealous or whatever the dumb things that make the chemicals overwhelming. It's like, dude, you are taking yourself too serious. You were taking this ride too serious. You're not even fighting the fight yet, and your knuckles are white. Let go of the fucking bar.
And you guys have
trust in this shit.
You guys have, I would say, been able to watch over the last couple of years, and this subject is something that I personally tried to change a lot. Not only trying to fix everybody else around me, but take some time to fix myself and learn how.
You've let go of the bar a lot.
Learn what
recently,
I'm in control of and learn what I need to let go of. And now I look at things like, how scared am I to do that? I mean, basically everything I've done in the last year of my life, I've been terrified to do.
Yeah.
But the more
all the
scared
goodies
I am,
are on the other side of fear.
Yeah, the more scared that I am, the more convinced I need to do that. Which included, leaving my career and starting this, and hell, even next week going rafting. I've never done that by myself before. I'm scared to death.
You're doing it by yourself?
Awesome. Yeah.
Oh, fucking A, bro.
Yeah.
Both of you guys are going out in the woods. Well, so this might just be me next week for the podcast. Not next week, but the week after, because both these guys are tempting nature.
We're gonna drag Zach out into the woods too.
I've drugged Zach out in the woods, and it didn't go well. Have you ever seen Pure Luck?
No.
With Martin Short when he gets stung by the bee. It's pretty much what Zach came back with.
I've seen that. Yeah. Well, to be honest,
but Monique was so excited. She had all these elixirs ready to go, and just.
She did. She saved me.
Zach's like, I'm going to stay here with my automated customer service and my delivered groceries and
vote Skynet, baby.
My chickens that I have in my yard.
Yep, that's the wild animals in my life.
I think we're doing 60 miles in 7 days.
Really?
On the lower salmon. Yeah.
That's awesome, dude.
So I'm pretty cool. Excited. And the one thing good is I'm by myself. So if I die, I'm only responsible for killing myself, which is fine.
That is fine.
Yeah.
I do want to say, when you took me out to Pierce, I went four-wheeling for the first time in a long time. And I'm not an expert four-wheeler or whatever. I don't even know what the fuck to call what we did.
I just call it a bike.
But I'm just following you around. And there were 2 times that I
almost died.
Yeah. And one that it's like, I'm amazed that I did not die.
I remember.
And so I was allergic to the woods, but I'm also probably like a little awkward in the woods too.
I was amazed that you didn't die too,
dude.
I was just amazed that you didn't die
break my
camping.
sternum or something. That was fucking. He pulled off some weird jump. He's taking me. He did this on purpose. He's like, I'm going to take you where the bears live, and
He's grinning there.
Yeah. And I'm following him. I followed you, but there was this little hill thing. I've never done any of this shit. I'm waiting to roll this thing on me and be like, all right, whatever. And I almost did, but you did like some weird stop. It was like, can you handle this shit? And I'm like, no, I cannot. And it did hit me in the sternum.
Hit the gas instead of the brake is what happened.
It was so fun though. I had a blast. I wish I wasn't allergic to nature because I do love it, and I like gold panning and shit. Being in the water is
stuff
great.
That week.
What's that?
You learned all kinds of stuff that
But I love gold panning. I've done gold panning for not that much, but for a few years, and I fell in love with just having my feet in the river. I like that. But if I don't want to be where the bears are, if they come see me in the river,
they're at the river. I just say no.
I know that, but I was just gonna say it's like at the river. It's like we got a little thing that we can do. There's a little bit of space.
I mean, it's not like an Alaska river, but where we were at, there's.
Well, where you go, you're like, I put my
tent
here. It's right by a bear bush. I'm waiting for him to come so I can choke him. That's how you camp. That's not how I like. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, so that's just a ride. That's why it is just a ride. I don't know how we got into this, but our last thing for the thing is...
We rode the ride.
Yeah, we did. Is things that Shaiden learned. And that's our last thing for the week.
Ooh, yeah. Which thing did we pick? Was it the CIA thing?
It's the CIA declassified.
Yes.
The birds aren't real.
Yes. Okay, so there's I'm sure you've at least come across this old conspiracy or heard of somebody that is convinced that the government has birds that are cameras and they're watching us all the time. There's cameras in the birds.
I have a bunch of them.
Well, I'm here to vindicate you if you're one of those people that believes that, because I was flicking through the declassified CIA documents that have hit the Freedom of Information Act. Like, they have to put them out now. I was flicking through there, and I found several that talk about bird cameras. Like, they're literally, you can go on to the Freedom of Information website and find these documents that they've scanned in. The title of the document is literally bird cameras, and I was like, I beg your pardon.
Like GoPros on a bird,
or
look
like
at
that. So
totally.
bird.
So Billy Bob, who had his own birdhouse business,
probably,
and he learned how to put a little camera.
The turd in the. This
and then
is
the government's
CIA,
like, can we
dude.
put bombs in that? Let's
CIA,
do that.
Yeah. So, but this was in the 70s. Right, because it takes they don't have to put this shit out for like 60 or 70 years.
Okay, it wasn't
something.
Billy Bob; it was a hippie.
Yeah,
yeah.
But they were attaching the best cameras they had in the 70s to birds, and they were researching how to get this to work, and with certain successes and failures, but they even outlined like the budget for this. Like, it wasn't like just a side project. Like, the budget for this in 1 year was $100,000, which is like $500,000 now.
Yeah,
I fucking punched it into an inflation calculator, and I was like, oh, really? Like, you guys were really putting some resources into this.
That was a lot of birds,
and that was in
a lot of cameras.
So now I'm wondering, like, are there actually bird cameras? Like, it's 2022, baby. They've had a long time to be working on that project.
I think the birds aren't real thing is to distract us from the fact that they're like, a couple birds aren't real.
Yeah.
Sure. Like, some of them for sure aren't.
I'm a believer now. Is really what I...
Well, being from the 70s and remembering what the home video cameras were like, reel to reel, and about the size of, what's that thing called?
Our audio interface.
About that size. Those have been big fucking birds.
Yeah.
I know. I want to know what birds they were attached to. Like, I'm picturing like pigeons, with this fucking big ass reel to reel camera. Like,
they're pretty strong flyers, but they're not very strong creatures, so that may be a little much.
Their bones are hollow, bro.
That's true. And those cameras were weighty at the time. Yeah. They've had to go a long ways to get those GoPros.
You carry one
through
a kid's birthday party, and you're like, "Fuck this thing, I'm done."
To play off the declassified, for Time Suck, they did a declassified, and I believe one of them was kitty bombs. And I thought that was pretty interesting, where they had done some research.
Don't blow up the cats.
Putting bombs in cats. I don't know.
Were they like training them to do like surgical like bomb strikes? Like, you go in there, kitty, and get the.
I think so. It wasn't a lot of information on it that I found, and I think I extrapolated more.
Didn't they do that with dogs in one of the world wars too? They were strapping bombs to dogs and being like, "Go get them." On the other side of the field, go get them.
Dude, I'll
assholes.
Yeah,
Leave the dogs and cats out of it.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like being a police officer with the canine thing, I watched a video one time. I don't know why I want to end the show like this, but I watched a video. I mean, they're like, I've met a few canine officers, and it's like they love those dogs. Those dogs are their bros.
They're kind of friends.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of them, they get to keep them when they retire and all that stuff. But I watched one where, I mean, you're sending those dogs, I won't even say, you send them into such dangerous situations. And sometimes if you got SWAT there and it's like the guy starts shooting, the dog's right there, and it's like, fuck. And that's, I don't know why, I'd rather see people die than a good police dog. I don't know why.
Oh,
it makes
100%.
Me a cunt,
I 100% have more empathy for animals than I do for 99% of people.
I do. I know. I can't help but feel that way. And it's one of the things that sticks with me. I have German Shepherds, and it's like,
but yet you'll still put your dog down, but not your grandma.
I would put my grandma down if it didn't put me in jail.
Yeah. I've wanted to several times, even when she was a young lady. It was like, well, I was just a little guy. All right, you guys. Well, that is it for Just a Ride 4. I've enjoyed this thoroughly. I hope you guys had some fun, too. Get a hold of us at
justaridepod@gmail.com. justaridepod@gmail.com. It's Just a Ride Pod.
All right, thank you guys so much for listening. Check out SkatCast.com for more things, and we'll be back next week. And thanks for listening. We'll talk at you in the future. It'll seem like the present.
It's just a ride. Whoa, oh, it's just a ride.
Bing bong.